So, people are flocking to the review, I guess, with the headline like Deus Ex Human Revolution is the best stealth action game since Metal Gear Solid.
It's a better Metal Gear game than most Metal Gear games, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, we talk about a little bit of the review, but it's kind of interesting that as good as it is a Deus Ex game, and I even comment that it's probably the sequel we've really been waiting for. It just, you know, they say, oh, Invisible will fix everything, and it obviously didn't. And here's real Deus Ex game we wanted just 10 years, a decade later.
Had to wait 10 years to get it.
From a different developer, but it also is like, yeah, this is something that Kojima, as Jeremy noted, Kojima should take some notes and be very observant, because it does all the stealth things that Metal Gear does, but actually better and playable.
Well, actually, I'm like really, I'm set on the review for the HD collection, and I'm a little bit worried, like, what's it going to be like going back to Peace Walker and Metal Gear Solid 3 after playing this? Because like this takes those elements of those games, which are great in their time, and then builds upon them. So then going back to those old mechanics, man, that might be a little bit tough.
Yeah, and so you did basically do a stealth run through your version of
yeah, well, it's more of an Arkham Asylum. I like to think of it as an Arkham Asylum run, where, you know, I would run through and doing stealth mostly, but if I saw something really cool to sort of, you know, mess with the enemies, I would do that. So every now and then I'd hack turrets, you know, to have them take them out, or duck in and out of ducts, because the enemies act like, I don't want to say frightened, but the enemy, when they know you're there but they can't spot you, it's really fun to mess like with them and fake them out, give them a quick glimpse of you, and you get, and if you have the right augmentation, you get that Splinter Cell Conviction last known position, the indicator, and then loop around back through some ducts, take out their enemy, scare them again, loop back around, and just mess with him like you would in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, I saw those augments and I respect them. I'm like, oh, this is probably like stealth makes really good, but I just tended to still basically only sneak in the fact that just to make like a cooler attack, like, oh, I'll use this to hack a turret and kill a bunch of guys, or I will, you know, get myself in a position to detonate my Typhoon and just blow a bunch of guys up, suicide bomb.
Yeah, well, the augmentations were really cool because they basically allow you to make the game, create the game you want to play.
Yeah.
I mean, if you liked Arkham Asylum, there's the see-through walls mode, so you know where the enemies are, so you can mess with them like that. If you like Splinter Cell, you can play it, you know, like Splinter Cell, last known position. If you like Metal Gear, you can play it a bit, you know, like Metal Gear, and if you pick the right augmentations. And the description of the augmentations were such that I never really felt cheated. It's never like I took an augmentation that I thought, oh, this sounds cool, and then got it and was like, well, that was a wasted experience point.
Yeah, and how'd you feel about the bosses? Am I the only one thinking that the bosses are
That was the big letdown. It's just the bosses, you know, because they're set up, again, going back to Metal Gear, is this like sort of elite foxhound like, you know, group of super soldiers that you see, you know, after you finish the prologue of the game.
Animal code names.
You know, with these crazy code names and, you know, backstories. And instead all you get is bullet sponges with strong attacks.
Especially because both Metal Gear and the previous Deus Ex established like alter things. Like Metal Gear, you could trank them, you can use non-lethal weapons to dispose of them. And Deus Ex, if you hacked it around them, you can find the kill phrases for everyone and just say the kill phrase and be done. So that was like a weird step backward, but
there were bosses like that in the original Deus Ex, like Simonson. When you take on Simonson in the underwater base at the very end, it really is just, you know, he's a invisible bullet sponge because he cloaks. But yeah, it's a shame that they didn't have anything like that.
But still, you know what? That's just like one out of like maybe a handful of things that are not as good compared to the fact that everything else is.
Well, the real boss fights are the conversations.
Yeah. I mean, right now, it's like, it's early to say, but I think this is the first game since Portal 2 to really feel like we'll probably be discussing this come Game of the Year time.
Yeah, this is definitely the first one I've played all year. Portal 2 and this, we'll see what Q4 has to offer.
All right, I'm going to go back to reading some comments and wishing that I was walking around with my turret friend, my best friend, Robbie the Turret.
Your best friend?
Timmy the Turret. So,
all right, cool.